Jaden Daniels might not be on the field this Sunday, and that single factor could completely reshape how the Raiders approach their Week 3 matchup against the Washington Commanders. The rookie quarterback, the centerpiece of Washington's future, is dealing with a knee sprain and hasn't practiced all week. That leaves the very real possibility of Marcus Mariota starting, and while some have labeled it a revenge game, the reality is much simpler. This is an opportunity the Raiders absolutely have to seize. Because if the Commanders roll with Mariota instead of Daniels, that's as big of an opening as you'll get in the NFL. Through 2 games, the story of the Raiders has been uneven. On one hand, Patrick Graham's defense has been far better than advertised. They've kept both the Chargers and Patriots in check, ranking near the top of the league in several categories. On the other hand, the offense has been riddled with penalties, missed opportunities, and an inconsistent run game. That imbalance is why they're 1-1 instead of sitting with more momentum. But going into this matchup, the defensive side of the ball might finally have the perfect scenario to push the Raiders over the top. Washington is banged up. It's not just Daniels limping around with a knee sprain. Noah Brown hasn't practiced. Tight end John Bates missed time. Even Deebo Samuel, who they added to give Daniels a proven weapon, is nursing injuries. The Commanders are limping into Week 3 with uncertainty at quarterback, depth issues among their pass catchers, and the added challenge of facing a Raiders defense that's already building confidence. That's not the recipe you want if you're Washington, and it's exactly the kind of situation the Raiders need to exploit. If Mariota does start, the formula is straightforward. Keep him in the pocket and make him win with his arm. Everyone knows what he brings at this point in his career. He's still mobile, still dangerous if he gets into space, still capable of extending plays. But when he's forced to throw the ball consistently down the field, mistakes pile up. That's where the Raiders' defense has to shine. The defensive front is already showing promise. Thomas Booker has been one of the most consistent defensive tackles in the league through 2 weeks, an under-the-radar star who's giving this defense stability inside. Malcolm Kuntz has stepped up. Tyree Wilson is raw but flashing. And then there's Max Crosby. Has he been his usual game-wrecking self yet? Maybe not, but if there was ever a game for him to flip the switch and dominate, it's this one. A banged-up offensive line protecting a quarterback reluctant to stay in the pocket. Crosby has to make his presence known from the opening snap. Behind them, the linebackers have been better than anyone expected. Devin White and Jermaine Pratt have been steady, but the real surprise has been Jamal Adams. Written off by many after his struggles in Seattle, Adams has been rejuvenated in Las Vegas. He's playing physical, making tackles, and bringing fire to a defense that needs it. Against Mariota, who thrives on checkdowns, RPOs, and designed quarterback runs, linebackers like Adams and White are going to be critical. They can't allow 4-yard plays to turn into 14-yard gains. The secondary has been up and down, but there are encouraging signs. Eric Stokes looked strong last week, and if Deebo Samuel suits up, putting Stokes on him makes sense. QL Kelly matching up with Terry McLaurin is trickier, but it's manageable if the pass rush does its job. The defensive backs don't need to play hero ball here. They just need to keep everything in front of them and make Mariota string together long, mistake-free drives. That's not his game. Of course, all of this only matters if the Raiders' offense holds up its end. And right now, that's the big question mark. Geno Smith looked sharp in Week 1 against New England, but Week 2 against the Chargers was brutal. 3 interceptions, poor rhythm, and a lack of confidence. This week is about bouncing back. The Commanders' defense is well coached under Dan Quinn, and he'll do what he always does. Take away the deep ball, force the offense to live underneath, and challenge the quarterback to be patient. For Geno, that means no more forcing throws that aren't there. Take the 4-yard check down. Hit Jacoby Myers on the intermediate routes. Use the tight ends. You don't have to play hero ball when your defense is keeping you alive. Jacoby Myers has already emerged as Smith's safety blanket, and he's likely to be heavily targeted again. Brock Bowers still isn't at full health, but pairing him with Michael Mayer and 12 personnel could be a sneaky weapon. Washington has been terrible against tight ends through 2 weeks, allowing nearly 200 yards to the position. That's a glaring weakness, and the Raiders have the tools to exploit it. Then there's the running game, or rather, the lack of it. Right now, Las Vegas sits near the bottom of the league in rushing attempts and rushing efficiency. That's unacceptable when you've invested in Ashton Jeanty. Against the Chargers, the Raiders bailed on the run too early, even though Jeanty flashed with several strong carries. He's not a back you sprinkle in. He's a volume runner, someone who wears defenses down. Against Washington, who is giving up over 100 rushing yards a game, he needs 20-plus touches. Even if it's 3 or 4 yards a pop, Those plays set the tone, open up play action, and give Geno Smith breathing room. Special teams could also tip the balance in what projects to be a low-scoring, physical game. Daniel Carlson remains one of the most reliable kickers in football, and his leg could be the difference. But punter A.J. Cole needs to sharpen up. Too many touchbacks, not enough precision. Field position matters in matchups like this. And the Zamir White experiment on kick returns? That needs to end. If the returner doesn't believe in himself, nobody else will. So what's the prediction? Expect a grinder. Expect 2 defenses setting the tone and 2 offenses trying to avoid mistakes. For the Raiders, the formula is clear. Feed Gene, lean on Myers and the tight ends, protect Geno Smith from himself, and let the defense do the rest. Washington, even with Mariota, has playmakers, but if the Raiders control the tempo, they can keep them in check. Give me Raiders 20, Commanders 16. It won't be flashy. It won't be easy. But it will be the kind of win that steadies the ship, quiets some doubts, and keeps the season on track. What do you think, Raiders fans? Can Geno Smith rebound and guide this team to a crucial win? Will Ashton Jeanty finally get the workload he deserves? And do you think Marcus Mariota can actually push Washington to an upset, or is this the Raiders' game to lose? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a breakdown from Raider Nation.